I'm not even sure.
Looks like we're live. It says live on the top left-hand side.
Okay, we're here again. You have no idea what we're going to talk about.
I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
I don't either.
Oh, you don't either?
No.
Oh.
But we can talk a little bit about the algorithms, and I did some looking at the YouTube channel. I uploaded some stuff to TikTok, and call me a critic, but I don't trust all this stuff. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't trust that stuff too, not because it doesn't make sense to me, just because they can change it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense, and I'm trying to figure out some examples of, as soon as you upload something, there's all sorts of views, or this is why it doesn't make any sense. The views versus the impressions.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
I don't
quite understand what that means.
So there's a way inside TikTok. I wish I could just put it up on the screen behind this and just show people. But there's a way on TikTok. What you could do is you can pull up your statistics, and then it shows you how many people watch, how long they watched for.
That's what I was looking at today.
Yeah. And then the impressions basically is like somebody who actually watched it for a little bit longer and maybe did something with it.
Well, my point is, I was uploading some of our shorts today. I also found out not under the shorts on the video.
Yeah.
Now we were hanging up our shorts today. See where these things go, and then the goofy little munch thing chops it all up. Opus.
Yeah.
Opus has an affiliate program, so I joined that in case somebody wants to use Opus.
Somebody
asked me about it. I thought, I'm going to get an affiliate program for it.
Right. Yeah, especially since we talk about it on the show all the time.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, there's an affiliate program for everything.
Pretty much.
Even this software right here that we're using right now called StreamYard, if you don't have the affiliate link, if I was to refer someone, they get a $25 discount, and I get a $25 credit. And then there's an affiliate program, so if someone is using it, every month you get a percentage commission on it.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, so that's something I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
The affiliate stuff. Because, like I said, there's an affiliate program for everything. It's just bizarre.
It's totally true.
When we looked up your micro-dosing mushroom stuff, I didn't know that there were affiliate programs for that kind of stuff, but there are. Whether a person's growing mushrooms for their salads or their destiny,
or their psyche.
Their salads or their psyche. There's also this is something I was going to share. I might as well share it publicly because that's probably what's going to happen. I haven't made a definite decision, but there's a place in Costa Rica called Rhythmia.
Yeah.
You've heard of it?
No. I think you mentioned it.
I probably have. Rhythmia. It's a place where they go and they do ayahuasca rituals. Mm-hmm. It's a healing center. They had an affiliate program. They might still have an affiliate program. Yeah. They did have an affiliate program. So if you want to share something with somebody, you can earn some income from it.
Nice.
I don't think they have it going anymore. But there are affiliate programs for everything. The whole affiliate marketing industry. Some people have bastardized it and turned it into something. Oh, it's a pyramid scheme, or oh my God, it's a network marketing thing. It's one of those what do they call it? The MLM, multi-level marketing things. It's not. People have been doing it for real estate. I mean,
yeah, people online do it a lot too.
But there's even a real estate agency that has taken on the affiliate model digitally, but they've been doing it forever. There's been agents and brokers.
Yeah.
The insurance industry, there's been agents and brokers. And they're just a middleman between a customer and a product. Mm-hmm. So that's all it is. I don't know why anybody thinks it's a Ponzi networking scheme. There are people that do it just like gun safety, or change topic. Guns kill people. No, they don't. A gun can't walk up to you and shoot you. It's got to be an operator. It's usually the operator that's wrong, not the gun.
So the thing in Costa Rica, I think you were going to say something about it.
I did. I changed subject.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought that it was going. I thought it was going.
It was going.
Because you were saying you were going to announce something.
Yes. See, so that's how that's how the mind works.
Mm-hmm.
The ego tries to protect you. So the ego made me not talk about it and avoid the issue.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm aware of the ego and what it's doing to me. It's bringing that back up and getting me back on the rail. So I'm 99.99 sure that I'm going to go down there and do that. I get applause.
Yeah.
Because I've had this weird block with the things that I've been doing. I don't know what it is. It's got to be really, really deep.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And it even reflects in some of the internet-based activities, even though that's not necessarily biologically connected to me, unless Elon Musk is an alien and he got me years ago. Got a magnet. I'll check and see if I got a Neuralink in my head somewhere.
That's fine. Neuralink is interesting.
But I'm just at this place where I'm just tired of people not understanding when I try and explain something to people, and their eyes just get glazed over.
Sure.
Or even today, I had a situation where I contacted someone. I thought I made it real clear. I wanted to have someone as a guest on the Synergy Cafe video show to talk about affiliate marketing. I put a graphic on there of what it was. And then I finally reconnected with the guy today. We had it screwed up as far as time zones. And then when he did talk to me, we were talking about a bunch of other stuff, and I had to explain why I had sent that. And he goes, "Oh, that's a great idea. Well, how come you didn't understand it?" And it's interesting because the ayahuasca stuff, for those that don't know, is it kind of gets in touch with deep level stuff. I mean, really deep.
It does.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And the excuse I use a lot when I'm talking to people is when I was in grade school, I think maybe 6th grade or 3rd grade or something like that. It's whenever you decide on reading versus a language. What grade would that probably be, like 6th grade? Something like that.
I think somewhere around there.
Anyways, I remember always getting the brown cards in reading class.
Okay.
The brown cards are about comprehension.
Ah, okay.
Now, can I comprehend, or can I not communicate so other people comprehend? I used to get all the brown comprehension things in there. I started thinking, okay, do I have dyslexia? Or when I read something, because I don't like to read, especially like reading magic books, because I'm a left-hander. So when I read a magic book and it says, take the cards in your left hand, and I go, no, I hold the cards in my right hand. And then it says, turn the card over with your right hand. I go, no, I turn it over with my left hand. So it's really hard for me to grasp it. That's why I can't comprehend it.
Sure. So
I'm thinking, oh, is it me? I got dyslexia and I can't think. And the teacher asks a question, and I don't want to do the answer because I might get it wrong. Left side, it should have been the right side. So I'm going to probably go down to arrhythmia. I say probably because I haven't made a total commitment, but I'm doing an interview thing. I think they're going to talk to me Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down there and do the deal.
Have you known them for a long time?
Known of them.
Known of them for a long time.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. Beckworth, the Agape Church in Los Angeles. Agape. I forgot his name. Charles Beckworth or something. You guys know, or maybe the.
That actually sounds really familiar.
Yeah, black dude used to have dreadlocks. Now he has no locks.
I don't know, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, he was part of the development of this whole thing. There's been a lot that went into this space industry. And I've known of it for a long time. There's a comedian guy that I met at an event years back when Monica and I were just dating. It was at a place in California where the big giant trees are, sequoias.
Okay, like in the Redwood area?
Something like that. It was a deal that we went to.
So Northern California.
Yeah, and his name is Kyle Cease, and he's a comedian that ended up getting very popular and not doing comedy, but he was doing more personal development and tying comedy into it. Monica said, "You should do that magic." And I could see that. But anyways, he was connected with rhythmia.
Okay.
So there's all these things these coincidental things that happen. So anyways, this morning I was making my coffee and into my head came the rhythmia thing. And all of a sudden I felt this in my heart and my eyes started tuning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a message to me that something's going down. The little baby Brad inside is going, help me, help me. So that's what's going on. I'm just getting tired of the things that I'm doing not being understood.
Yeah.
And like even this is another situation. I did a post and I was trying to help the magicians that want to maybe do magic as a full-time job or use magic as a message to communicate about a product or service, to use magic as a pitch, use magic as a relationship building tool, an icebreaker. So I did this little post and a guy commented on it. There's no details about this event and blah, blah, blah. What is this HE double toothpicks? What the word he used? Shenanigans or whatever. I can't remember what word he used. But it wasn't a compliment. Oh, you said about networking, marketing stuff. What's wrong with networking and marketing? The guy that sold him the shoes he's wearing is a marketer.
Right.
But it's weird that there's a lot of people that have, we're getting into some other stuff now. You can start talking through. Maybe you kind of.
Oh, no, I'm kind of listening. I'm listening because if you decided you're going to, for the audience out there, you have to understand Brad's kind of a teetotaler, and he hasn't done anything like this ever. So for him to decide that he wants to go do this, that's actually a big deal.
What's a teetotaler?
That means that you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do anything like that. You are pretty much on the path of the straight and narrow, and you don't even eat meat. So you're like,
I do too eat meat.
I'm joking.
Primarily chicken. I don't like steak, like bristling cartilage and ligaments and bones and all that stuff. But
yeah,
I like chicken. But
I'm joking because I've told you before. I was like, you don't eat meat, do you? And you're like, yes, I do. Yeah, I want to see if you were paying attention. I did. I totally thought you were.
This is a different kind of deal. There's recreational use of stuff, and alcohol to me is a toxin. The alcohol kills stuff.
Right.
Whereas the
this
stuff
heals
that
things,
you work in,
those things.
You work in the hallucinogenics of the microdosing, helping people understand the magic mushroom.
Well, kind of a little bit of everything, including ayahuasca. Like I've learned quite a lot about that too. I mean, I'm not as familiar with the ceremonial aspects of ayahuasca, but I'm very familiar with the medicinal quality of ayahuasca.
I understand that the ceremonial stuff is very important because you get into some deep stuff.
Yeah, anytime that somebody is going to sit for you with any hallucinogenics, if you ever actually want to get something out of it, for anybody who may see this, absolutely. Number one thing that you need somebody who actually understands how to hold space, can actually do some energy work inside the area and actually do some more tribal type stuff to be able to cleanse the environment and hold the space for you.
Well, that's why I'm looking at this place, and again, I look at all the coincidental stuff, like running into Kyle Cease, and he was there, and the Rhythmia base is in Costa Rica. I had this plan of building an event center in Costa Rica with my friend Nick Halverson, because he's got a bunch of land down there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these coincidental things that are happening. Oh, I was in a program, and the guy ended up buying a resort in Costa Rica. So Costa Rica's got a lot. Costa Rica's on the same time zone.
I hear a lot about Costa Rica too. Costa Rica, I think, is just hopping. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of why I hear a lot about it. It's hopping. Like there's a lot going on there. Tons of people I know. There was this couple that I worked with for a while. They used to own a kind of guess you could call it a co-op down there. I don't know. It was more like a compound, like an old hippie compound that they did down there.
Was
But
it,
then-
I can't remember his name now. Balloon Shine Entertainment?
No, it wasn't. They weren't part of any entertainment or anything like that. They literally were just like, they just had a farm. And it was.
Well, that's what this guy ended up doing. He decorated at one of my expos,
Yeah.
and then he kind of got out of that and he's down in Costa Rica, and he's got a little co-op community farm.
Cult co-op.
Cult co-op?
That's what it sounded like you said, because it kind of you kind of flipped the word a little bit.
Well, cult is just short for culture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, but that's interesting. I'm really
Jason
glad.
Bliss.
Bliss.
Jason.
Yes, that is exactly the people I'm talking
See?
about. I have no idea how that connection is there, but yeah.
Well, it's there because he's a hippie dude, and so are you, and he took his wife's name, Bliss.
Yes.
And he's a real cool dude. And he came down and he sponsored and did all the balloon decor on my event expo,
Yeah.
and I was doing it at Earl Brown.
Well, it was his former wife that,
I knew it was them.
yes, that lives here in Crystal.
Oh, really?
Well, they did for a while. I think that they moved, and I think they're back now. But yeah,
It's back and forth.
yeah.
Interesting. I gotta look him up again and find out where he's at.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, yep, that is them. Bliss, yes, that is it.
Just knew it was.
That's interesting.
It is.
Yeah, but yeah, Costa Rica's just got a lot going on. I mean, it's a lot.
Well, I was attracted to Costa Rica because I'm not a war kind of person. I know that it's one of those things that happen. If you do invade someone's space, you end up having a war. Like if someone walked into my house and didn't ask for permission and started digging through my cupboards, we have a war. And
Yeah,
on a bigger scale, countries do that.
yeah.
Well, Costa Rica doesn't have an army. They got rid of it
Mhm.
because they got a big brother that takes care of it. And then they are 90% sustainable through water energy, I believe.
Yeah.
So they don't use electricity like we do. There's a lot of water down there.
Yeah, the culture down there is really cool too.
Mhm.
They have a really cool culture down there. I actually, I only know a little bit about it, but what I do know, it's really cool. The farming style is very agro-sustainable. So they do a lot of really cool stuff down
Yeah. Now what do you want to talk about?
there. Well, I mean, this sounds like really cool if you're going to go do the ayahuasca thing. So it sounds like you're already having that thing that happens where all of a sudden a whole bunch of stuff starts.
Exactly. As soon as you.
Yeah.
So I've made, like I said, I made the decision 99.9%.
Well, I'm pretty sure you have too, because that's basically what ayahuasca works. Now, not all psychedelics work this way, but ayahuasca absolutely 100% works that way. It works out of time. The moment that you decide that that is something that you are going to do, even if it's just in passing, it's like ayahuasca knows that you're going to go do it. And then the ayahuasca begins to work in your life from that moment, and you actually start seeing it in your life all the time. It's really interesting.
And that stuff happens a lot to me, specifically because like I have situations where I'm working on my computer, listening to something, and Monica's in the other side so I can hear her, and I'll be typing in the word banana, hear the word banana, and she'll say the word banana all at the same time.
That's
So
interesting.
that coincidental stuff happens to me.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's in like my experience with what happened with ayahuasca. It's beyond coincidence. It's not just like coincidence where there's like little tiny things that are coincidental in the ayahuasca. It's more like you're having medicine moments. There's like
Elaborate on medicine.
okay, so earlier you were talking about how you had that feeling, and then you had the feeling, and then it brought tears to your eyes. That's like a medicine moment. It's like you were all of a sudden you thought about something, and then there was like this energy movement, and so yeah, so that's like a moment. Or another one would be like if all of a sudden like you were gonna decide that you were gonna go do something, and then something would get in your way from being able to go do it, and it would curb you to go do something else, and you would go there and you'd hear something that you had to hear to help your heart open.
Well, just to preface, when I say coincidence, I'm talking about two incidences happening at the same time.
Truth.
It's not one of the
You don't need it like a lot of people need it. You need it.
Yeah.
Like it.
Like, oh, that's a coincidence.
Right.
There are no coincidences. To me, a coincidence is two things happen at the same time, and it's when, like, if you want to get into deep stuff, we had talked about before in previous episodes, where if the universe is infinite, and physical matter is finite, it's inevitable that eventually that physical matter will rearrange in the same format that it was. So that's where deja vu comes from. So to me, that's also where coincidence comes from.
Sure.
And all of a sudden you have two things coming through, and there's a coincidence. And you get this little glimmer of, you've been here before? What do you mean banana? What's all this banana stuff? It's like
Right.
Speaking of which, why did I say bananas? And I got chill like that. They got bananas in Costa Rica, don't they? I know they got bananas.
Yeah,
They got pineapples.
For
They
sure.
got pineapples for sure. Have you ever been there? You ever been there?
No, I've never been there. I've traveled quite a bit at this point in my life, but as far as like other countries go, I have a handful of them that I've been to. I've never been to Costa Rica. I've never been to Central America. I've never been to Australia, China, or Mongolia, or anything like that. So basically, I've been to a couple places in Western Europe, and including Norway, and I've been down to Argentina. So that place is really cool. And Mexico, of course, and Canada. Because Canada's our neighbor.
I've been literally a stone's throw to Canada.
Really? That's interesting that you are a stone's throw from Canada.
Two
right?
times I did a Mexico show, and this is a cool thing. I went to Orr, Minnesota, which is next to Net Lake, Minnesota. So there's an Indian reservation in Net Lake, and then Orr is the white boys, and they would do an event, bring the two cultures together, and I did a magic show for them. And then they did a powwow thing, drumming ceremony.
Oh, nice.
It was bizarre.
Really?
Wow. Yes, I could just feel spirits and stuff. You know, you think, oh, there's a bunch of food. No.
No, that's the real deal.
So
I
that
mean,
was one time I was like 9 miles away from there. And then there, and we got like literally there was a river.
Yeah.
To a rock, not a big river, but one of those things.
The tribes up here in the north are very lucky. A lot of them are allowed to keep a lot of their traditions, and they didn't have them stripped away from them as viciously as a lot of these other tribes did. So up here in the north, they've retained a lot of that really cool old knowledge, and so when they do things like their Sundance ceremonies and they do their sweat lodges and stuff like that, it is as close to authentic as you're ever going to find anywhere.
You ever done a sweat lodge? I'm assuming?
I've been invited to a sweat lodge a bunch of times. There's a person that I met. It's an acquaintance. I don't really call him a friend, but because I don't really know them all that much. But they were an acquaintance that I met, and they invited me to go to a sweat lodge in Wisconsin, but I keep having babies and have no chance to go.
I've heard of that place. There's one in Wisconsin, just over the border.
Yeah.
And I did one with Monica, and I went to Tulum, Mexico.
Oh, nice. Well, that's going to be a completely different experience because it's a different tribal style.
It is, but it's very similar.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's based off of the same thing. You're going in there and you're basically beginning to sweat, increasing your body temperature, and
that stuff didn't really move me.
chanting and stuff.
I've done it 2 or 3 times, and it hasn't really done it.
Yeah,
I don't have any spiritual experiences with it.
I can't imagine that I will necessarily have a spiritual experience in it either. Just simply because, I'm pretty sure I did one whenever I was younger, but you can't really stay in as long whenever you're young. They kind of show you out at a certain point. So I was pretty sure that I actually, I was present whenever my dad did the whole thing. But yeah, so as in my adult life though, I've just never been invited to one that was authentic. So to go do it, but having that little bit of, you know, Western, Northwestern European blood, Dutch in me, you know, they liked it much like the Norwegians. They love to jump inside saunas and steam rooms and stuff like that all the time. I go to the Y on a regular basis and spend an exceptional amount of time actually sitting.
Well, they did all sorts of stuff with the branches and stuff.
Yeah,
Water
right.
and stuff. And it was a full moon when we did it in Tulum, so that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
But I didn't really have anything that moved with that.
Yeah. So I should preface this by saying, because a lot of people are going to be like, you're trying to co-opt somebody else's belief systems. I'm not. It's
You're trying
actually
to what?
my family.
Co-op?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, all these people who say that, you know, you're taking other people's cultures and cultural appropriation and all that.
Oh, I usually say that there's only one God and give the glory to God. It's, you know, nobody owns it.
Right.
That's what I usually say.
Well, for all of the crazy people on the internet who want to complain about it, though, like,
Yeah, get the traffic.
my grandmother was like 3/4 Native American. It was like she didn't look at it. Like you wouldn't know to look at her. But her sister, you look at her sister, you do.
Oh, like that one political lady that said that she was Native American. I forgot which one it was.
And she wasn't.
I guess not.
Who was it? Pelosi?
No.
Was that the one in Alaska?
No, I thought she was over.
I don't know. That claim is out there a lot in the United States, but the truth is that if you've been in the United States, if your family's been in the United States for an extended period of time, and you are basically anywhere west of the original 13 colonies, chances are you could have Native American blood, not even, because that's just, we've intermixed at this point quite a lot. But my grandmother, her mom was full blooded. Her dad was so.
You ever did that ancestry thing where you spit in the tube?
No, I won't do it.
Why not?
Because I don't want them having my DNA.
Oh.
A lot of people are like, oh, what are they going to do with your DNA? Oh, I don't know. They do cloning. They do genetic engineering now. They use a lot of that stuff in order to be able to make, you know, gain of function now and all kinds of stupid crap that I don't want to participate in. They don't need my
Good
DNA.
enough. Good enough. Yeah. I did it, so I hope I don't get in trouble.
I doubt you will. Did you find anything cool?
Nothing that I didn't already know. My family is just really screwed up. You know, it doesn't go down like a tree. It goes more like a bush or something. The class is over and you find out that, oh shit, my family's kind of promiscuous. You know?
Well, you know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because the way that genes work is not actually cut and dry. I'll give you a perfect example. I know for an absolute fact that my grandmother is 100% Dutch. She's Dutch. Her parents are Dutch. Her parents were Dutch, and they go like back to like the 1400s and before, actually, way before that. Whenever it was just a little tiny island, and it goes way back. It's the Zeeman family. It goes way back in Holland. It's quite a ways back.
Okay.
Anyhow, so then my grandfather on that side, his name was Bress, Bres, and that family went back quite a ways in the Netherlands, right? So my mom takes this, and so this is both sides for my mom. She takes the test, and it actually said she had very little Dutch, the most amounts of gene material that she had was Anglo-Saxon. She's like, where the hell does Anglo-Saxon come into this? My whole life was a lie. And I'm like, that's not actually the way the genes work. And so she goes and she looks it up, and sure enough, she finds out that the way that genes express inside an individual, you could end up being a major throwback. Like for example, my grandmother, you know that she was 75% Native American, right? She looked like a typical white girl, other than the fact that she was super short, right? It's the tribe she came from. The tribe that she came from, they were, a lot of them were very short.
Okay. I
So
thought that into gender.
no, not at all. No, she was 4'9.25". That's pretty darn small.
Okay, it is.
So anyhow, so then her sister though, her sister had straight black hair and looked like she came right off the reservation. Like one of the only kids that ended up looking like that.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. So when you do a test and it shows like various different haplotypes and stuff inside your genes, that just means that's what's expressing in your particular genome for you.
That makes sense. I mean, it's probably not a binary kind of thing where it just splits off perfectly.
Right, exactly. It doesn't perfectly meld every single time. And not only that, you could end up passing on a portion of your genes that's like that much of your whole entire gene pool. It's like less than 1%. It could be that your child gets 98% of that.
Yeah, it might
of
be
yours.
something up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little sleeping gene somewhere.
Oh, yeah. It's the reason why, you know, like sometimes this happens. Like most often with if there was a for lack of a better term, Caucasian person in an African descent person or a Middle Eastern descent person who of exceptionally dark skin, right? And you have those, and you have the two of them, and they meld, right? Usually you end up with the mulatto or something else that is in there, these terms that we're giving to them all the time. However, once in a while, you end up where they look very, 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 very white until like 5 generations later, and then all of a sudden they look very black. And it happens. It totally happens. It can end up major throwback, and you just don't know. And it's all because that's the way the genes express. So it's fascinating.
Complicated too.
It's super complicated. It really is.
What would happen if you use your DNA in your spit and you made out with a African and Asian and a Latino?
I don't think anything would happen.
But you're all mixing all the DNA out.
So that does bring up a really interesting subject.
Exactly.
I mean, no, really, it does bring up a really interesting subject. So men don't actually have this. Doesn't happen to us, right? However, women have a thing called microchimerism.
Chimerism?
Chimerism,
Chimerism.
like a chimera. It's a mythical animal that is mixed with a whole bunch of animals, and it can like shapes and stuff. Yeah.
Not
So
really.
it's chimerism. So women have this is a real life thing. Anybody who's looking at this right now or hearing this and thinks I'm full of shit, go look it up. Like seriously, it's called microchimerism. Basically what happens is that there is a pretty good chance that whenever a woman has sex with a man, that she actually stores their DNA in their body, and it makes the DNA makes its way to her brain. And that's actually how they first discovered this, was by dissecting a brain. They were taking slides of brains and they were checking the DNA. It happens absolutely 100% of the time if they have a child. They end up with DNA of the partner who they have a child, right? They end up with that DNA of their children stored in the brain. It stores in the brain. Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
And then it happens
Gotta go somewhere.
often. It doesn't happen 100% of the time. They think they're not positive because, you know, this is getting into very new cutting edge science of checking on DNA and dissecting, the corpses that have donated themselves to science and all this kind of stuff, right? But where they can find this, but they find this microchimerism, and they can actually make a pretty good guesstimate as to how promiscuous the female was, because they can see the amount of foreign DNA from individual males was in the brain. And they can even tell what is, like, they can get enough of the DNA where they can actually like do a check on that DNA and say, oh yeah, so this person was like of this particular descent.
So does that go the other way? So the males can't find that out, right?
So males can't find that out. So here's the thing. So women, whenever this is the theory now. So women, whenever they're giving birth, much like what happens with animals. So like you can have a purebred horse, right? And you have a stud come with that purebred horse, right? That horse has previously accidentally mated with a whole different breed of horse. Well, now if you have a purebred and a purebred, and the purebred mounts that horse, and they end up having, calves, right? Or colts. There you go. Whatever it is. I knew I had the word wrong, but anyway, so they end up having So they end up having babies, right? And then so basically, it could come out looking like whatever the male was that previously had mounted that horse, even though that the parentage is not that. So they think the same thing happens with women, because now they're finding this microchimerism. So basically, women store that DNA and they utilize parts of that DNA in the makeup of their children. Yeah.
Deep stuff, folks. Deep stuff.
Well, it completely changes the narrative of the way that a lot of people actually can view sex and the way that they view the whole entire process of mating. And it actually explains, like, there is a male drive, at least there has been in the past, where you look for a woman who has the least amount of sexual partners. Well, it ensures the most amount of your genes get passed on, right? So if that's the case, if it's really that you're looking for, like, subconsciously, you're looking for the most amount of your genes to be passed on, then it totally makes sense, right? The microchimerism.
How do you spell it?
Shift everything.
Chimerism?
Chimerism, yeah.
Just got to look it up.
It's CH.
CH.
Chimerism.
CHI?
CHIMERISM. Chimerism. Human chimerism. They talk about human chimerism.
There you go. There's your homework, students.
But it's actually called microchimerism is actually what it is. And it is something that is found in all women who've had more than one partner.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, it makes sense. I haven't cut anybody's brain open yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I said yet, because I don't know my future.
Yeah, we don't need to name you Hannibal Lecter.
You can't. Okay, now we got to come up with a new topic.
New topic.
That went deep. It was. We need to go move somewhere else.
So going back to the ayahuasca, right? I mean, we were talking about
15 minutes.
You testing your haplotypes and stuff like that.
What?
So you did your gene checking.
Oh, he uses these technical words that I don't know what they are. When I was talking about I spit in a tube.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. You said what?
Genetic haplotype is like it's basically a genetic mutations that were common in very specific areas. So it's haplotype, so it means that you actually come from those specific regions and specific areas.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure where I came from. My mom used to say I'm Scotch, English, Irish, Dutch, and German, and she got that temper of an Irish. My dad was Norwegian, primarily, I think, mostly.
And it turned out that you had a little bit of everything.
What?
Yeah.
And then Monica and I were talking about that because oftentimes I don't remember my childhood. you might remember, at Christmas, the family go and open presents and you got a tricycle.
My brothers are that way. My
I
brothers
don't remember.
shove.
And I don't know if that's because I'm suppressing it or what. So that's what I'm going to try and figure out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say the ayahuasca trips are like intense for people. They see a lot of demons and snakes and dragons, and it gets scary. Like, I'm going to die. And then other times we just cruise right through it.
Yeah. Well, I had an incredibly easy time of it overall. I had a couple of weird experiences. There were like 2 really weird experiences that happened, and there was one overall theme that kept happening. So I would take the ayahuasca, and as soon as I got in deep enough, like I got really, really in deep enough, and I was like, it was hitting me strongly. I wasn't getting a whole lot of visual hallucinations, like a lot of people have strong visuals, really strong visuals. Whenever I've done DMT in the past, I have had really strong visuals, but whenever I was doing the ayahuasca, I did not get a lot of strong visuals. I had a lot of strong emotional stuff. I had a lot of strong impressions that were happening, but visually, nothing. And it made me, this was the physical hallucination. It made me feel as though I could not move. I couldn't move. I tried, and my body would not cooperate with me. I was like trying to move, and it was like I just couldn't move. I felt completely unable to have my body function.
So was it analyzed? Do you understand why that happened?
I do actually. I do understand why that was going on with me, because that actually has been a repeated theme of the last 5 years, where I feel like I've been boxed into a corner and like I don't have many options. So I feel like I'm not able to move. Like, you see what I mean?
Sure, you got a block. So I wonder if I'm going to have that experience. And if I do, is it because I'm having the block, or is it because we're talking about it now?
Oh, yeah. I don't think so. So the weirdest thing that most people do experience, and that a large portion of people actually do experience together, it's a joint hallucination throughout the entire planet. Like the whole planet has this experience, is the DMT beings. I'm wondering if you'll end up seeing some DMT.
Oh, the beings?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the beings.
Beings. Yeah. So there's entities, DMT entities, that live in this ayahuasca world. They live in this DMT world, and they look different. They look very holographic in nature, if you want to call it that. I mean, that's really the only best way to explain it. And they come in different shapes and sizes.
Is that sort of transparent?
No, they're very physical. Very physical, not like a ghost.
What do you mean holographic?
God, it's
That was
so
the
hard
only
to
way to
explain.
explain it, and you can't explain it.
It's so hard to explain. Okay, so it's like staring at a being where every single molecule of that being looks exactly like that being. And so every time that they move or shift or change at all, it's just that being over and over again. So it encompasses, it's like for a moment, it can just like completely encompass your entire vision. And it's like everywhere you look, it doesn't matter where you're looking, it's the being is like, can move with you. But these beings, you should look them up. It's actually really cool. But these beings oftentimes have a message. They oftentimes have the same message for many people around the world, and they're telling us about how they're always here, that they live here with us, and that we just don't notice them because we're stuck in this 3-dimensional world. And they're not 3-dimensional.
We had talked about that kind of thing in a different spectrum. The different,
yeah,
like color spectrum as far as light, and then there's the sound spectrum and physical vibration of stuff that we can't relate to it. We're not tuned in, just like if you want to tune in to
Exactly.
KQ92, you got to tune it in because you can't listen to Cities 97 if you're tuned into KQ. So you got to
Right.
adjust the vibration or the frequency of the vibration.
Yeah.
Into the beings.
Yeah. So it's very different. It's very different. You know, I would say like I'm very familiar with a lot of these different types of aspects of things, right? A lot of these different molecules that you can utilize to put yourself in a different headspace. It is the only one that I know of that is so jointly viewable. And I mean, people hallucinate the same things, they go to the same places, they hear the same messages, they hear the same music.
Is that kind of like the aliens always have almond-shaped eyes and big heads and they're green in all the different sightings, the abductions and all that stuff?
Well, that's actually not true 100%. But it is,
I think
it is the most common.
kind of.
This is a little bit like, okay, it is so uncanny. In Europe, they're actually doing a study to map the DMT world. They're actually doing a study on mapping. So they're putting people into that space, into this DMT ayahuasca space, and they're then having these people describe what's happening to them, and they're writing it all down because they're mapping it, because literally so many people are having the same experience.
Okay, we're at 5:53, so let's close this off by talking about, because this is something I wondered, why is something like DMT illegal?
Yeah, and I'm completely,
In the States.
I'm completely convinced at this point that it actually had to do with the fact that psychedelics, whenever psychedelics were first being reintroduced and re-experienced through early studies, they were having such a profound effect on people of making them more happy, making them anti-war,
you have talked about
anti-violence, and it's even talked about. There's even well-documented conversations that happened with world powers about how the fact that people didn't like war anymore, and that was due to in major part these drugs.
Okay, so some people would, some institutions would say it's to protect people from getting hurt by these drugs. And then you're saying we'll call it a conspiracy theory.
You can call it that all you want.
But we're doing that to protect ourselves. Because it could be a conspiracy theory.
They held a symposium. They held a world symposium to talk about the threat. And the threat of these drugs.
Yeah, where everybody sat down and said, you know what? We put down our guns. We're not going to do this anymore. If you guys want to fight, go fight.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, we can't do this. Our entire economy is based on this
Exactly.
conflict.
Our
entire economic world is based on all of our borders. Everything is all based on conflict. If we don't want to have that conflict anymore, where does it leave all the powers that be?
You know what's kind of weird is why don't they quit killing people and then put them in like UFC rings and charge pay-per-view admission? They could make a lot of money doing it, and they wouldn't have to kill people.
Right. And I think the politicians, they should have to volunteer to be some of those people.
Well, they don't have.
If they disagree with other people and they're like, oh, so we want to start a war with you instead of starting a war, they should have to volunteer to be the general to go in there. And then they can all beat each other up. So they're the captain of the team. And they can all beat each other up. And then the politician has to be like, I don't know where the goal is or whatever. So he gets beat up in the end.
Well, I thought about doing this where you can monetize these things. I have a friend that I talk to a lot about this. And this is we just shifted topic a little bit, but this is the idea of the people that are going up and stealing people's stuff in their car, or they're stealing Amazon packages, or they're vandalizing things, and these people that are doing things that are wrong,
Yeah.
they're destroying property and taking things that aren't theirs. So there's laws that say you can't do this kind of stuff.
Right.
What happens is they get arrested and they bring them to prison and let them out, or they put them in prison and keep them there because there's money involved in the prison system.
Right.
What if there's another way to do it? And why not do it like the NFL does it? The National Football League,
Sure.
they've got teams in different states, and that starts at like grade school and high school level, where they learn how to play football, and then they go to high school and they get good at it.
Well, Romans
And then
said
they-
that gladiators.
And then the gladiators are killing people.
Yeah.
I'm just playing a game.
Right.
I'm not killing anybody.
Right.
So they play football, and then eventually they end up being a Minnesota Viking or a Miami Dolphin. Why not do that with the criminals? So if you step foot onto this property, you've just given permission because now you're playing the game. So if you're a criminal and you step over this curb, you're playing the game. And we, the people, are the ones that are on the opposing side of the game. So we have the permission to catch you with a net and put you in the backyard in a cage and feed you so you don't die. And the more we catch, then the team is bigger. You got the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, this is funny. I mean,
But it could be a monetary. There's a lot of money in football. The
I mean,
Super Bowl.
it gets into a touchy subject, but
What's the touchy subject?
You realize that is how slavery started, right?
But it isn't about that.
They would capture the criminals and they would say, "Oh,
Yeah, but
our prison."
But the slave didn't step over the curb. They were taken.
Well, yeah, because they committed the crime.
The slaves committed crimes, and that's how they got taken.
That was originally how slavery got started. Was they committed crimes? It was either
So maybe it's
war,
like
they
that.
would go and they were killing people, and then they would say, and then the people would like capture some of them, and they would say, "You guys are killing our people. Well, now you owe us."
Okay, but
You're gonna-
in this situation, there's not going to be anything like whipping or anything that's physically violent.
Right.
It's just going to be like tackling,
Yeah.
and you catch them and you put them in the batter's box or whatever. You got to time out. You got to go sit over there in the cage,
Right.
and then you can be good, and then we can let you out again. We'll catch you again. Another team can catch.
That's
And they can actually start earning money by doing this. If all of a sudden they can like come over to the good side, they can start catching people. There's only one side gets paid, the other one doesn't.
What if it was a giant game where you had your team of thieves, and then the other side had their team of thieves, and then your job was to go steal the other team's resources and
No,
bring them back.
no. I want to do it
It's a
where
joke.
I'm going to do it where you're getting where kindness and peace and caring is incentivized.
I think that there is a world that is heading towards that, and I think that we really are heading towards a lot.
Well, here's another example. When I see people on that next door platform, and they go, "Yeah, someone just stole my Amazon packages." Well, they should be put in jail. They should be arrested and put in jail. That doesn't do anything. All it does is puts them in criminal college, and they learn how to pick locks and steal Hyundais. So don't put them in prison because they learn stuff there. Put them in your backyard in a cage.
We want them to be bad.
Feed them prime rib. Put them in the cage in the backyard and feed them prime rib.
Yeah, interesting.
And show them the good life. It's to show them how you can make money too. It could be an affiliate program.
That's funny.
Well, I'm kind of serious about this because I did have a program that I actually implemented. It was called the Peace Police, where we reward people for doing good as opposed to punishing them for doing bad. So you'd run around looking for people doing kind things like opening up the door for someone or walking a lady across the street, and you would run up to them with a citation booklet and say, "I saw what you did there, young man, young woman. I'm going to write you a citation, and here's a $50 gift card to Target Corporation. Thank you for being a kind citizen." And they look at that and go, "Huh." So now, remember the Geek Squad?
Yeah.
Volkswagen's been around? The
Yeah.
Peace Police drive around in Priuses.
That's funny.
So the peace police have precincts in the cities, and they get in their little cars and they patrol around. And the criminals, when they see a Prius coming along, it says peace police on the side, they go, hey, and they give you a hug.
That sounds like China social currency.
Kind of like that.
Their social currency is used in a very bad way.
Well, they're suppressing stuff and saying you can't have this, which is kind of that too. You can't.
Well, they're saying yeah, exactly. They're saying like, oh, you're not good enough to be able to be allowed out of this district.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that you are good enough. You can come into this district. It's the other side of the coin. It's not the same thing.
But it equates to the same thing.
No, I think that if you put someone in a bad district, it just creates more bad.
Well, no, they don't move the districts. They just keep them stuck in the district they're in. So, like, they don't allow them to travel.
Right. We're allowing you to travel. We want you to come over the good side. That's the difference. We're not putting you in the bad side because you're bad. We're putting you in the good side because you're
But
good.
they don't put them in the bad side. They just say you're not allowed to travel unless you have a good social currency. So they're basically doing the same thing you're talking about.
Kinda. But what's the reward for having a good social currency?
They get better jobs. They get access. They get access to more areas, so they can travel more. So they get the visas to be able to go out of the country.
Maybe we should start implementing this thing in China.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
6:03. We got 3 minutes over.
Crazy thing.
But I think that the world should be a better place, and people should stop hitting each other and being angry. But it's kind of tough because if someone cuts you off, you're pissed off. It just makes you angry when someone does
Right.
that. Even though you don't know why they cut you off, maybe they just made a mistake.
Right. Yeah, no, that's entirely true. I totally understand that. It's difficult. It's very difficult. It's kind of hard to say how to do it right.
Want to do another hour?
No, I think we can close out. It's actually I have to go turn the lights off.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we just waited until the sunset?
Yeah, and then it just turns dark, and we're like, okay, we're done.
Can you hear us? Okay. I'm going to sign it off.
That was a good one, first one. Hey, we actually stuck to topics again. I think we're getting this down.
Okay, peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of the day. Be good, be kind, be nice. Did I say be nice?